Hello and welcome to another video from Sustenance Uncovered, the only YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to talk about wine in two parts. We're going to make two videos because I recently downgraded my internet service and I can't put up a long video and can't put up a high quality video, so we're going to go ahead and just do two low quality videos. This one is going to be about the equipment that you need for wine making, and you will see here everything that I use to make wine with the exception of a spoon to stir it. This is a wine making bucket, and if you notice it says on here True Brut. That's pretty much standard for the wine maker or amateur winemaker society, I guess. But you know me, I'm Sustenance Uncovered. I'm going to try to get by cheaper because this is kind of an expensive bucket, about 15 bucks plus shipping. You can get this at Walmart for $5. I do not use these buckets from Walmart or Lowe's or Home Depot or anybody else because they all have a tendency to crack. They don't keep a good seal on top. So I just went ahead and broke down and bought me some wine making buckets. And these, you could actually get about a year out of one of these. I've had this bucket here. This is probably 15 years old. Now, you need a bucket that's got a lid, and you need a bucket that's got one of these. That is called a vapor lock. This one looks like a P-trap out of your plumbing. And what happens is carbon dioxide can escape from the bucket, but nothing can go back in because it can't get past that little bit of water that's there. Now you'll see these other kind, these are more expensive. And my neighbor gave me a couple of these. I don't recommend them. They're nice, but they cost twice as much, do the exact same job, last same exact amount of time, no reason to have it. But since I got it, I use it. Now, when a bucket has this type of top, it is called a fermenter bucket. That is where you make your wine. You put in juice, and the juice ferments, and then you're supposed to take and transfer it into a bucket like this with a spigot, and you let it age. This is called a bottling bucket. No wine supply company sells a bucket that has the vapor lock and the spigot. That would be multi-purpose bucket, and true wine aficionados would never ferment their wine in the same bucket they bottle it in, simply because there's a process called racking, and it's almost like part of the wine making Bible that you rack your wine. Some people rack it 2 or 3 times to get it super clarified. My neighbor, he racks it a few times, puts it through a filter, and his wine looks like pure glass. You can't see no sediment in it at all, and if somebody comes over that's kind of snooty, that's the wine I serve. But for most of my friends, just doing it in one bucket and having a little bit of sediment or a little bit of cloudiness doesn't bother them, and it makes things a lot easier. You're still going to get wine that tastes delicious. Going to have about 18.5% alcohol in it, and that's about as good as it gets. Now, since you cannot buy this, what you're going to have to do is buy a fermenter bucket. A fermenter bucket will come with this bucket, this lid, that little grommet that's on there, that little black grommet, and this vapor lock. Now, you're going to have to add this, which is not any problem whatsoever, because all you're going to need is a 1-inch drill bit to drill a hole in your bucket and install your spigot. The spigot is going to have the gasket on the outside. Don't put it on the inside, and then you got your nut that holds it together. Now, the way this works, you're not going to put the spigot at the bottom to get the very last drop out. I always get the last drop out. The way I do it is I tilt the bucket until the last drop comes out. But when you're bottling wine, what's happening, all that fermented wine is going to have at the bottom of it what's called the dregs. It's sediment. Sediment tastes nasty, very bitter. It looks bad. You don't want to get that in your bottle.
Looks like mud.
Yeah, it looks like mud and tastes worse. But you'll also have stuff that floats to the top. So as you learn what you're doing, you'll get a kind of that little bit of feel for how to get the stuff in the bottle, and also when to stop. Because you hate to have a big old bottle full of perfectly clear wine and keep going to the last drop and get that mud in there. But let's see, make sure I ain't missing nothing. That's about it. I ain't got a spoon for the video, but you need a stainless steel spoon to stir it with when you're mixing all your ingredients together. You need some kind of a vapor lock, and you need some way of getting the wine out of the bucket. Now, A lot of people, you use a hose, they'll stick that hose in there and siphon it into a bottle. That's very messy. It's just better to spend the extra $2 to get you a spigot. And here's a company, I just ordered a couple of these buckets from Rebel Brewer. That's R-E-B-E-L Brewer. And they're in Goodlettsville, Tennessee.
Oh, we went there, yeah.
Yeah, sure did. Went there for a car show one time. Anyhow, let's see here. Oh, another thing to remember when you're getting all your equipment, the reason this equipment's important, and it's good equipment, is because when you put sugar and water together, it's basically the beginning of a race. If yeast gets in there, they're going to convert your sugar water into carbon dioxide and alcohol, and that's what you want. If bacteria gets in there, it'll convert it into acid, and you don't want that because that's vinegar. You can buy a bottle of vinegar for 50 cents, but a bottle of wine costs you, $2. So anyhow, what you need to do is make sure that there is no bacteria, no yeast, nothing in your buckets before you start. So you're going to have to clean everything, including your hands, any tools you work with. And then you're going to introduce yeast. And with yeast, I just get plain old bread yeast. It's cheap and it does exactly the same job as wine yeast. But that's it. You just want something that will keep everything out of your wine but allow the carbon dioxide to escape from your wine. That's it. Goodbye from Sustenance and Covering. Love you.
Bye.